Bim, guess what? We're live. And this is News at 10 past 8. My podcast where I look at the news from around the world, and later on we have a look at some light stuff that makes me laugh or question everything. Or nothing, depending on how you look at it. Anyway, it's one, obviously, main story this week, which is huge and has upset quite a lot of people. And we actually touched on it last week, and that, of course, was the beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. The best word in the world. That was Donald Trump's tariffs. So, let's crack on, shall we? So, Friday. This was after Donald Trump had put his tariffs on. He put them on last Wednesday, and by Friday, share prices had plummeted in London and New York. Trump says his policies will never change. Remember these words? My policies will never change. China hit back with 34% tariffs on the US goods, and the actual share prices are dropping, and it's the biggest drop since COVID broke. Even Nintendo paused pre-orders of the Switch 2, which surprisingly was announced coming out fairly quickly. Saturday the 5th, Jaguar Land Rover pauses shipments to the USA over the tariffs that are going to be imposed on their cars. All cars are getting the tariffs. I remember rightly, UK was only getting 10% on everything else, whereas a lot of other countries were getting 20% or more. Musk questions the tariffs, saying he hopes for zero tariffs with the EU. Of course he does, because EU is one of his strongest places outside of America for selling his Tesla cars. Well, more of that later. Sunday the 6th, more chaos following Trump's tariffs. The stock markets are just plummeting. Monday the 7th, he said, "We've got one shot at this. No other president will ever do this." And then he threatens China with 104% tariffs on their goods going into America. Tuesday the 8th, White House confirms extra tariffs will start on Chinese imports to 104% at midnight on Tuesday. Trump says China has panicked, and Keir Starmer says he's calm and collected for his response, which thus far he hasn't made. Wednesday. Now, things are getting interesting on a Wednesday, because Wednesday's BMW. And Trump announces, remember, let's go back, hang on a minute. Friday the 4th, Trump says policies will never change. Never change. 9th, 4 days later, Trump gives a 90-day pause on the higher tariffs for all countries apart from China. Saying you have to be flexible. All would go to 10%, but China is now on 125%, so it's gone up from 104% to 125% tariffs. You're like, crikey, this is insane. And the stock market has record rises, but not only about halfway to where they were before they fell. So it's a rally, not a recovery. Hi Alan, hope you're good. Hi T as well, hope you're good. And then today, China puts 84% tariffs on American goods. So Trump slams 145% on something. So basically, what tariffs mean is, if you've got an item that costs $1, in order to get it into America, if you make it outside America, you now have to pay, Americans have to pay $2.45, because there's 145% tariffs on it. He's so unpredictable that he's now predictable. Yes, he is unpredictably predictable. And that is moderately worrying, but at the same time, moderately worrying. What got me was, because I wrote on Friday, Trump saying policies will never ever change, and then on Wednesday, decides to change his policy and put in a 90-day. I think basically he crapped himself, because share prices are going down, everyone's falling out with him around the world, including Americans, and so he's decided to put a pause on it, except for China, where 145% now. So a Switch, so say a Switch was going to cost $400 in America. Now obviously it doesn't cost $400 for it to go into America. So let's say it's around $300 for it to go into America. In order for it to get into America now, it would be $750, which would put it completely ridiculously thingamabob if it was from China. But obviously it's from Japan, which has got less tariffs, but still quite a lot of tariffs. But yeah, I mean, kind of see where it's coming from, but you also think, you know what, you're a bit of an idiot, aren't you, mate? Bit of an idiot. Anyway, that was the top story of this week. Eek! I imagine it's going to be the top story for a few weeks to come, if I'm being brutally honest with you. Friday the 4th, normal news. I say normal news. Russell Brand is charged with rape and sexual charges. He is the presenter that used to do Big Brother's Little Brother. I think it's the first time I'd ever seen him. And he also does some very weird, bizarre podcasts, etc., etc., and other TV shows. Very outspoken, and never thought of him as a nice person. There's a video of him when he was very young, a university student, stood on the top of a police van or a police vehicle, dropping his trousers. So yeah, a bit of a bad guy. But anyway, not been proven guilty of anything yet, but charges have been made. 16 people died, including 6 children, in Zelensky's home city in Ukraine. The problem with all these tariffs is that we're kind of losing track of what's going on in Ukraine and what's going on in Gaza and Lebanon, and for that matter Sudan. So yeah, it's not great. In Canada, 1 in 20 deaths are now medically assisted, which is the assisted suicide bill, which has kind of gone through. And yeah, I am terrified of what's going to go on here. Not for me necessarily, but certainly for my grandkids and their grandkids, if we do go down this assisted suicide route, which they're still talking about in government. Because it started off very similar in Canada, but now 1 in 20 deaths are from this. Yeah, something wrong somewhere. Saturday the 5th, Labour Party suspends Dan Norris MP after he was arrested for rape and child sex incidents. The IDF admits after shooting medics in Gaza, basically they said that they shot 15 medics in Gaza because they approached their there wasn't even a convoy, it was a couple of vans, their checkpoints in an alarming way. Turns out when they dug up the bodies, because they weirdly the bodies had been buried along with their vehicles in a shallow grave. When the bodies were dug up, they found a mobile phone, and there was footage on the mobile phone of the vehicles coming to the IDF checkpoints with their flashy lights on, their 1s and 2s, and all the medics getting out of their vehicles in full kit, and were still shot. So another war crime for Israel. Why is Netanyahu not in prison instead of being invited to America, where he was there a few days ago, and being treated like a hero? Meanwhile, Sunday the 6th, 2 Labour MPs were refused access to Israel. The reason given was because they could start a lot of problems in Israel with their attitudes and what they said in the past about Israel. So I guess I'm not invited to Israel either. Big loss. Monday the 7th, Starmer in the Midlands, and he says, nobody is pretending that tariffs are good news. No poo Sherlock. Meanwhile, the Palestinian Red Crescent demands an independent investigation on the slaughter, as I wrote, of the 15 emergency workers killed and buried in shallow grave. Israel admits its account was false, untrue, and the fact they buried the ambulances as well, they crushed the ambulances and buried them with the bodies of the people who they killed. I mean, if that isn't a war crime, I don't know what is, and why are we letting this go on? It's just terrible. Hi, Dream Frequency. Hi, Angela, you've just joined in. Tuesday the 8th. The government is considering nationalising British Steel. Now, we need British Steel to survive. At the moment, it's owned by China. It used to be owned by India, but now it's owned by China. And they're on about shutting it down. They're not sending raw materials across to keep one of our last old steelworks opening. And as soon as the stuff runs out, you turn it off. Basically, you can never turn it on again unless you reline it, which is costing hundreds of thousands, millions of pounds to redo. So our industry would be gone forever. So where would we buy our steel from? Of course, China. So they've done very well, and I've said this before. China, when I was a kid, they were the enemy. They were treated the same as Russia was at the time, and they were pretty nasty, horrible people. Tiananmen Square, etc., etc., etc. And then they kind of went quiet, and they started approaching businesses, greedy businesses and governments. So like Microsoft or people who developed computer chips, and said we can make them in China for a lot less. We're good people now. We're helping you. And the greedy companies said, yeah, okay, then it saves us money. They sacked all their employees, all their people who knew how to do these things in their various countries around the world. A lot of industry moved to China, and basically China now makes a lot of stuff, a majority of the stuff it feels, for the rest of the world. So we can't do anything against China, unless you're America, of course, in which case they think they can, but they can't. Even the mobile phones, I think even Apple iPhones are made in China now, or certainly the chips are anyway. So yeah, they've done very well. They're stuck under the radar. They can basically do what they want now. They can invade Taiwan if that's what they want to do. Is it invading? I don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? Because they reckon Taiwan is part of China. But yeah, this is something that's simmering, and it's all going to be very, very, very terrible. But we need to keep a British industry for steel, and we need to do a bit like Donald Trump's trying to do, maybe not the same way, but reintroduce production of essential stuffs here as well. Meanwhile, a 14-year-old boy and 13-year-old girl who attacked and killed an 80-year-old man were found guilty in court. They will be charged, they will be sentenced very soon, and hopefully for a considerable length of time. Wednesday the 9th of April, wildfires in the lots of UK, despite the winter being one of the wettest ones we've ever had. I know March was dry, but I mean, where's all that water gone? No agreement between government and British Steel, and they are definitely running out of the raw materials. Literally, it's only got a few days left before the blast furnaces get turned off because of the lack of raw materials, and that is the end of British Steel. Although they were on about getting arc furnaces in, but they can't make raw steel, they can only recycle steel, but anything's better than what we've got at the minute, which is relying on China. At least 12 dead after a roof collapsed in a nightclub in the Dominican Republic, including quite a lot of celebrities from the Dominican Republic as well, including football players, music stars, and I think a couple of politicians as well. But absolute tragedy. The video shows people enjoying themselves in a nightclub, and then it all goes dark and there's lots of screaming, and then you see the pictures from the day after, and literally the entire roof has collapsed in, and it's not a little roof, it's proper concrete stuff. So yeah, I've got a feel for the people there going out for a night out, and it just ends in absolute tragedy. USA Giant says Universal theme park to be built near Bedford in the UK. So Universal seem to think that UK is a good place to invest money. I don't know. Meanwhile, today, Thursday the 10th, Starmer announces 13,000 more police workers by 2029. Concentrating on local bobbies, so you'll have a bobby in your area who will be named and will know everyone, a bit like the older days. Although I never knew, when I was a kid, I never knew the name of our police officers. Mind you, I never even saw them. We lived in, I won't say affluent, they wasn't affluent by any stretch of the imagination, but there was no trouble there. Kids played out and we all just ran around and did what we did, and yeah, I don't think I ever saw police around our end. Anyway, apparently we're going to see a lot more police. But you can't wait. The Cabinet Office is to cut 1,200 jobs for a leaner civil service. Let's see if any of those can actually go and be police people instead of going on the dole and costing the government even more money. The government say inquiries will go ahead with more to come. This is into the grooming gangs, rape gangs. Now they've already said 5, but everyone's saying, well, why not just do one big one nationally? Because that would cover everything, rather than getting a patchwork quilt of stuff. And it's not just the Pakistani community who do this. I mean, there are other communities, including British communities, who get involved in it. So I don't see why local councils and local inquiries would work better than one national one. Which the national one probably take longer, but it would give the same results all over the place. Anyway, he did say that they are not watering down the inquiries by only doing 5 and then some extra ones. Yeah, right. I believe him. Keir Starmer. What a decent guy. God, I hope no one clips that. That's going to be terrifying in the future. Because you didn't get the irony and the sarcasm in that. And there's definitely irony and sarcasm in this. Anyway, that's it for the shockingly horrible, nasty, scary news. We're now going on to the stuff that's a lot more fun and exciting and silly and also a bit scary. So, immediately starting off with a bit of a giggle. My next door neighbour just confronted me about items missing from her washing line. I nearly shat her pants. Think about it for a minute. You have to do a bit of thinking today, to be fair. Let's move on, shall we? I quite like the Egyptians. Here we've got Gordon Ramsay's on. Obviously, Gordon Ramsay with one of the headdresses on. Barry tweeted, a colon can completely change the meaning of a sentence. For example, I ate my friend's lunch. Or, alternatively, I ate my friend's colon. Which proves that a colon can completely change the meaning of a sentence. You see? Fact. Factoid. My 4-year-old just said, Daddy, why do people make up things that their children have said for social media? Isn't it just inherently dishonest and indicative of an inability to construct a compelling narrative themselves? And yeah, we've all seen them things, haven't we? Where my 2-year-old said to me, isn't it a shame that the red squirrels, the grey squirrels in the UK are dying out because of and all that kind of shit? And it's like, no. Again, made me smile when I read it. A lot better than when I read it out loud then. I think that Guinness is a bit cold. Just helped my neighbour bury a rolled up carpet in the woods. Her boyfriend would have done it, but he's out of town. Now, Wigan, God's sake, Wigan have changed the name of their main shopping centre area, which is going to have a hotel in it, and apartments, and a cinema, and a bowling alley, and all that kind of stuff that we don't really need in the town centre, but they're doing it anyway. And they've called it Fettlers. And everyone's like, what the? I even wrote about it in the local paper last week as well. Fettle. To fettle is to perform a sexual act on somebody. Hey up our Eli. Did they end up having a fettle with that bimp from behind bar last night? Aye, it were reet grand, I know. We were fettling all neat. She's a right dirty mare, is that Shirley Bagthwaite? Aye, I'll tell thee. Yeah, so we've got a shopping centre now being named Fettle. So I literally ripped into it with going on about fettling and all that kind of stuff. I thought it was quite amusing. A lot of people who hadn't heard of the news about the town centre being renamed Fettlers had no idea what was going on. I was even talking about Donald Trump fettling tariffs and all that kind of thing. Oh, I thought it was hilarious. You're all wrong. The earth isn't flat or round. It's... Can't argue with that. Cyber attack on super funds. Now this is what I keep saying about the next world war. It'll be a cyber war. It won't be a feet on ground. We've already found out that feet on ground don't work with Ukraine, and for that matter to a degree Gaza as well. But multiple super funds have been targeted in a coordinated cyber attack, causing members to lose money from their accounts after a password leak. Customers with the Australian Retirement Trust, Australian Super, Hot Plus, Rest and Insignia have all been affected. So basically they're having money stolen from their pension accounts. Now, there's someone in here who likes to trigger me. I shall name no names, but the initials are AB. So, right back at you, Alan. Oh, damn. BMW drivers come up with a Snapchat or whatever. It goes, weird green light came on. Should I be concerned? Which is... it's the indicator. BMW drivers don't know what that is. They think it's something wrong with the car. Of course you can, Alan. Feel free to ask a question. That's the whole point of this. I don't claim to know everything, by the way. I just have an opinion on stuff. But of course, now I've thrown this at you as well, so you know, like that. British pound against the euro has gone down 0.92%. It's not a lot, really, to be fair, but I imagine they've both gone down quite a lot, so it probably has gone down quite a lot as well. I think we're going back to politics. So let's have a look at the politics thing. Remember, you can join in the chat. You don't have to agree with me. If you don't want, that's fine. The whole point is it gets us talking and thinking about things, and possibly thinking about things in a slightly different way. If we can vote another party in the local elections, will our town have a different run council rather than a Labour run? Alright, okay, so this is more local than national. Basically, what it would be, so say either Reform or the Tories or Independents or whatever got more seats than the Labour Party do in the local elections. Bearing in mind there's no local elections this year in Wigan, not because of Labour cancelling elections in some parts of the country, which they have done. There was never going to be elections this year in Wigan. The next elections, local elections, are next year, because a couple of years ago we had an all-out election. And you've got to bear in mind that when you do that, you've got like whoever gets the most votes gets the most number of years, second votes get slightly fewer, and the third year gets less again. And then what happens is it generally rotates quite handily. But this year there's no one up for re-election, so there are no votes. But anyway, hypothetically, if Lib Dems, yeah right, no chance. If Reform, for example, got more than half the number of councillors in the chambers where they do all the meetings and everything, then they would run the council. Now you've still got the same people in the behind the scenes, bit like the civil service. So you've ever seen things like Yes Minister, Yes Prime Minister. You've got the civil servants in the background who are basically advising what to do and what to say. But if you have a different people running the council, there will be different policies. So there would be, if it were Reform, I would imagine there'd be a lot less hotels opening up within Wigan for the migrants, for example, because obviously that's their main policy, which does worry me about the Reform. They do seem to be a one-trick pony. But they also might decide that we need to have our bins emptied more often. So they might, instead of having the black bin emptied every 3 weeks, they might have it emptied every 2 weeks. Or they might decide to fill the potholes in rather than painting a mural on a wall somewhere. Or they might decide to scrap, in Wigan for example, the entire town centre and make it into a park or something. So yeah, they've got all these different things that they could do. It would not mean Lisa Nandy out. No, 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 no. Um, Lisa Nandy is an MP. She's not a councillor. So Lisa Nandy is not affected, or would not be affected by that. The only chance you've got of getting Lisa Nandy out is if, I think there's a way of the constituents to actually put, it's not called a vote of no confidence, but there's something where you can, if there's enough people sign a petition or whatever, then something has to be looked into. But I've not really gone down that route. It's normally when someone has been in trouble with the law. So, for example, that Labour MP who punched that guy to the ground and then continued beating him up in a drunken rage, and has ended up with no police, no prison sentence, weirdly. Whereas some poor grandma who tweeted something in support of the Palestinians and the riots and all that ended up with 3 years in prison. Anyway, no, it's no two-tier justice in thingamabobs. But no, the MPs are different from the councillors, and the MPs generally look at the bigger picture, whereas councils just look at within the council area. So our local council here, one of them, is on the cabinet. So the way Labour run things, most Labour councillors have gone away from this now around the country, but we can stuck with it. And this was a Tony Blair thing where you basically had a cabinet within the council, and the cabinet do all the decisions. They make all the decisions, and then all the other councillors just put their hands up and agree with it, or disagree if it's someone else putting a point across. So yeah, it's not as easy as you think it would be, but there is a way possibly of doing that. Other than that, waiting for the next general election, and then maybe sorting it out then. But the weird thing was, as I've said about this guy who beat this constituent up on a drunken rampage, he was not ousted. He was still an MP. He was kicked out of the Labour Party and then become a independent MP, but has since resigned. So there will be a by-election there. But I think there is, like I said, I don't think it's called no confidence, but there's certainly something where the public, if they object enough, can actually put things in motion. But of course, with this government, you're not allowed to have an opinion, are you? So, I wouldn't hold your breath in any of that. Anyway, BMW drivers using indicators. Yeah, right. That happens, doesn't it? No, never, ever. Never does that happen. No, it does not happen. Unless it's a BMW that is painted white, in which case, obviously, those drivers are a lot more pleasant. But blue ones and grey ones, in particular grey ones now, oh my god, grey cars are just bonkers. So yeah, we've had Mr. Barton has just given me literally the finger. Either that or you're pointing to what Dree frequency says. Is your shop going well? Yeah, it's doing very well. We've had a record year, we've had record months, so it's all going very, very well indeed. The problem is the rent is so expensive and everything. We're still not making money, but we are paying bills, and that's the main thing at the moment. And then hopefully it will go on better in the long run. Now, just to clarify, he's not been found guilty of any charges, but this was too good to miss. A meme. This is the Adventures of Sir Noncelot, Volume 1. Featuring a certain celebrity who may or may not have been charged with sexual activity. Side A saying diverted traffic. Someone's made the arrow point across a green verge, and then you can see tyre marks going in and out of the trees straight on where the arrow's pointed. Again, genius. Now, I was talking earlier on about Elon Musk wanting zero tariffs between the EU and America, so he can sell his cars, which of course are very damaging to the environment. Don't get me started on that one. Get back in your box, Alan, thank you. But Tesla's decline in Europe, difference in registrations between January 24 and January 25. So this is after Elon Musk's, thing that he did. So in Finland, is it Finland, that one? Norway and Scandinavia and all that, you've got -41, -40, -46. In Germany it's down 59%. In Belgium 42%. In England 18%. But that's because we didn't buy many anyway. In France 63%. In Spain 75%. In Portugal 31%. Only 13% in Italy, but again I don't think they buy many. And even Turkey has dropped by 33% in 12 months. Now that could be because of Elon Musk, or it might be the fact that people have realised that electric cars are absolute crap. And you know, you're basically driving around a posh milk float, as someone said. I think we commented on that last week. And some older electric cars do sound like milk floats nowadays. It's got to be said when they come past. I do feel like they need to have a little speaker in them that has the jingling of glass bottles, just to make it completely authentic. But you've got an electric car, you're a fool. Sorry, but you are. See previous stuff I've said about it in the past. There's a lot. The odds of being murdered in your own home by a psychopathic waterfowl are low, but never zero. There's a picture there of a really scruffy duckling, an ugly duckling even, just peering round a wall, like that. In a very menacing way, but obviously ducklings are not menacing in any way. All together now, only people of a certain age, so I would imagine Angela, Alan, T and myself, definitely. There's somebody at the door. There's somebody at the door. There's somebody at the door. Yes, it's Roddle and Emu and Grotbags, and the first really camp person I was ever aware of, which was a robot-y thing, which was so camp it was unbelievable. I mean, we moan about things in TV now, where it's you know, you've got all the transvestites and all the woke stuff and everything, but yeah, it was a pink windmill with Roddle wearing pink. You had Grotbags with a green face. It was a witch, evil witch, and then you had this very camp. I mean, it was the campest thing. As soon as I saw the picture, I remembered him. He was going, ooh, like that, all going around everywhere. And he was Grotbags. He was Grotbags' servants type thing. So technically he was a bit evil, but he was camp with it. I've no idea who the guy in the background is. And the talking clock and everything. It was a very strange programme. Sadly, Roddle and Emu, Roddle passed away trying to fix an aerial on his roof and fell off the roof. Emu, I don't think anyone bought Emu, so I think Emu has been retired. And Grotbags, the actress who played Grotbag, passed away probably getting on for about 10 years ago now. I don't know about the camp. You look back at it now and you're like thinking, what the hell? But yeah, it were fun at the time. Large print audiobooks. Great, I won't need my hearing glasses. Someone's commented on that. I can only assume there's meant to be a full stop between the two. But I'm a bit miffed by this as well, because I am more than guilty of this. Not in the town centre necessarily, but that is my preferred way of going for walks in the summer. But they haven't got a body that represents me. The nearest one is probably the guy with the glasses. Apart from the fact I don't have any hair on my chest. And he hasn't got massive pot belly and man boobs. But yeah, and I don't drink alcohol either. But yeah, I think that's pretty cool, to be fair. Yeah, they've not used my body. A tragedy. Next. I mean, it's, be warned. Distressing content coming up. Prepare yourselves. Just found a penguin skeleton on the road. Poor little fella. Whoa. It's all kicking off. What's kicking off here? Oh, apparently I've got some good offers. Tell you a story about that later. But yeah, that's... if you don't know what it is, it's a coat hanger for a toddler's clothes that has like the pants at the bottom and the top on the top, but it does look like a dead penguin, to be fair. Now this one you have to think about. Random second-hand interesting things. So this is like a bit of a shop, bit like mine, apart from the fact that it seems to sell more things. I mean, mine's more entertainment-wise. This seems to sell everything from furniture to drum kits, bicycles, an electric mixer desk for CDs, all that kind of thing. And it's the second-hand interesting things bit that you have to look at. And then you have to realise that there's first letter of each of them is highlighted in a colour that's actually lower than the rest of the word. So it's very, very cleverly done. So basically, this shop is full of random shit. Which, I mean, balls of steel to do that one. Mind you, I did say in my fiddling column last week that I do enjoy a little, not fiddle, a fettle, my fettling column. I do enjoy the odd fettle myself every now and then. And it got published. Anyway, so disappointed after seeing this photo and realising that's a third llama in the back and not the arm of the right llama ringing a little bell. It's, again, I love it, I'm loving it like that. Let's make that bigger, shall we? There we go. So yeah, I love it. I just think it's brilliant how people see things, and they're not wrong, because I see stuff like that as well, and I'm like, you know what? I see a llama ringing a little bell there as well. Oh God, what we do on our spare time, eh? It would have been more fun if it was a llama ringing a little bell, but you know, you can't have everything, can you? Right, here's a joke. You might not get the punchline, it might be at the bottom. But anyway, a proper Yorkshire joke. Daley Thompson, Tessa Sanderson and Steve Cram are all round at Seb Coe's house for tea. Steve brought the fish, Tessa brought the chips, Daley bought the mushy peas, and Seb provided the salt and vinegar. Suddenly there's a knock at the door, so Seb gets up to answer. "Who is it?" asks everyone in unison. "It's Fatima Whitbread." Fatima Whitbread. Again, people from a certain age. Fatima Whitbread, Fatima Whitbread. See, this is my level of humour. I think it's brilliant. I should have been brought up in Yorkshire. Well, I was brought up on the Pennines, to be fair. Right, here's another one. This is clever. Head, shoulders, Nissan toes, Nissan toes. Head, shoulders, Nissan toes, Nissan toes. No. Oh. Meanwhile, the current situation, a lot of people applauding a bull in a china shop that's completely destroying everything. And they're saying, look, he's getting things done, and they've all got manga hats on. So obviously Trump supporters, bull in a china shop, you get the idea. During an interview with Stephen Hawking, the cameraman unplugged a cable, causing an alarm and Hawking to slump forward. Worried they had killed him, everyone rushed over to find Hawking giggling at his own joke. The alarm was from an office computer losing power. Quit while you're ahead, see. That's Hawking having a joke, and you got to admit, the guy had a sense of humour. But there's other things being said now, but obviously he's not here to defend himself. But yeah, it's a quick thinking as well. To be fair, someone pulls a plug out and he just slumps forward because an alarm goes. Scientists resurrect 10,000-year-old creature using ancient DNA and a mind-blowing achievement. I mean, they're cute. When they were puppies, and you've seen the video of them being held up, and they're going, and all that kind of stuff. They're cute, but they're not resurrected. They're not they're not the puppies. They're not the actual things. They've just got some of the DNA of them, but not all of it. Extinct dire wolf brought back to life in world's first species resurrection. Boffins behind an audacious plan to bring the woolly mammoth back to life, so they've successfully bred 3 dire wolves, which were wiped out 12,000 years ago. They haven't. What they've done is, they've put, I don't know how they've got the DNA from the fossilised remains or whatever it was, but anyway, they've got DNA, and they've spliced it into wolf DNA to create something that looks similar to them. They've not resurrected them. And the woolly mammoth, when it comes back, will not be a woolly mammoth. It'll be a hairy elephant. Just like the rhinos. There's a lot of, they're trying to get white rhinos back. Is it the white rhinos? I think it is. And what they've done is they put the DNA into other rhinos for the white rhinos. So the other rhinos are giving birth to what look like white rhinos, but they're not. They're a mishmash. I mean, it's still better than nowt, don't get me wrong. And I've seen of them doing it like that rather than, you know, like resurrecting bacteria from 10 million years ago that just wipes out the entire planet in 30 seconds, which they seem to be obsessed on doing as well. Anyway, I do like a good sign. Closed for closure, will reopen when open. And that's the Stuzzy Co-Management have written that sign. Must have took them ages. Yesterday I bought a cup of coffee for $3. I now have a $3 trade deficit with the coffee shop, so I'm imposing a 50% tariff on them. Today my coffee will cost me £4.50. Hashtag winning. And that's basically what tariffs are. They basically screw the country where the stuff's going into. It just, what they're trying to do is get people to buy stuff from the country where the stuff's coming from out of that country into. The problem is there's no infrastructure there for it because China's nicked it all, as I said earlier on. Keep up. New social safeguards to protect teens under 16. This is online. In Australia, thousands of young Australians under the age of 16 will have their accounts automatically switched to teen accounts across Facebook and Messenger. The new update features built-in protection designed to protect young people from inappropriate content and unwanted contact. Meta also announced additional Instagram protections will be rolled out for teen accounts in the coming years. Well, weeks to be fair. But yeah, makes sense. ITV's Benidorm to return 8 years after it was axed, and old faves will be back. It's all alleged and apparently. 8 years after fan favourite Benidorm was brutally axed by ITV, the channel said it's in early discussions about reviving the show and bringing back some of the all-star cast. Now, Benidorm was fantastic. It's still repeated on one of the TV channels every night, and it's brilliant. The first 3 or 4 series, when you had the Gravies in there, was really, really good. But when they left, it kind of went downhill a little bit. But I think it'd be fun because the Gravies had Michael, the young son, who was, he's very much a preteen when he started it, and by the end of it, he was a teenager, and then they went off. But it'd be great if he kind of come back as the dad and have some kids of his own now, because it's that long ago that he could have a few toddlers knocking around, and he comes back to where, you know, show his kids where he went on holiday. But I kind of worry that it's going to be wokified. Sherry Houston lives in Oral. I believe so. Never met her. But yeah, I believe she's a local girl. But it'd be interesting to see if it does come back. But, I mean, with all the stuff now, are ITV prepared to go anti-woke? Or would they wokify it? And if they did, it'd just be crap. Something's a better left. Gone. Wish this Labour government was one of them. But anyway, let's move on. Brits to be hit by 2,000-mile wide blue skies heat dome as Easter Easter. I don't drop me H's, may I, Adam? As Easter hots up, a 2,000-mile wide heat dome is set to make Britain hotter than Australia, bringing wall-to-wall sunshine and temperatures up to 24 degrees just in time for Easter. That was nice. But then, of course, the same thing says, snowy spring as 40 counties across the UK could be blasted by Arctic storm in days. The UK is set to be battered with snow coming from the Arctic in unexpected turn later this month, Up to 40 counties will be affected, with the hardest getting 3 centimetres of snow an hour. I mean, that's scary, isn't it? Iconic statue to be guarded, as tourists won't stop rubbing bronze boobs for luck. Tourists making tits of themselves in Dublin's Fair City have been urged to leave Molly alone after the pervy practice of fondling her boobies has rubbed people up the wrong way. Artist behind worst Trump portrait ever says her life has taken a bad turn. Donald Trump's whining has had a real effect on the career of British-born Sarah Boardman, who says her reputation has been damaged by the US President's criticism. I don't think it has. I mean, to be fair, who's heard of her before this? No one. So if anything, she's been, you know... I spoke to an alien who said they couldn't kill us, so give us AIDS instead, says a madman. Calvin Parker, a madman, claimed that the extraterrestrial beings that abducted him said they had given the human race AIDS in order to help them move their kind to Earth. Yep, get the yellow van please, thank you. Meanwhile, size of Uranus reconsidered after scientists made jaw-dropping discovery. According to scientists, Uranus is larger than they previously thought, coming after the revelation that it's also hotter than NASA's Voyager 2 mission had recorded. Maybe it's Uranus is about to blow up. It's that curry you had last night. Most wanted Russian oligarch flees Putin after tycoon's unfortunate shooting. We spoke about this last week. Peter Krozhnev, former owner of magnesium and rare earth products plant, has been charged in absentia with fraud on an especially large scale and falsifying evidence. Now, you remember last week there was a Russian oligarch who accidentally shot himself dead with a gun whilst at a rifle range. Who knew? Ukraine captures 2 Chinese soldiers fighting for Putin as World War III fears grow. Now, we've already had North Korean soldiers being caught and fighting there, but is it right Chinese? I'm not so sure. If they are, I don't think it's the Chinese government have sent them, because they'd be a bit silly to do that, wouldn't they? Wouldn't they? Liverpool ranked as UK's chlamydia capital, as country's STI hotspot listed. England has a bit of an issue when it comes to diseases spread by adult contact, sex. And now the most dangerous and safest cities have been ranked in a grim list for many places. And yep, if you're going on a night out, don't have a bonk in Liverpool. Government secretly using data to predict murderers in real Minority Report. Ministry of Justice officials are developing what critics have called a chilling and dystopian programme that aims to predict who might be future killers or serious offenders. I mean, what could possibly go wrong there? Apart from everything thing. Donald Trump's tariffs could see Britain flooded with cut-price champagne. French winemakers are hoping UK drinkers will save them from ruin after Donald Trump's tariffs destroy their US markets, as we are the second largest market behind the US. And you're like, really? So the US, the size of the US, and then we're the second largest market, the size of us, you could lose us in pretty much any state. God, we're all alkies, aren't we? Tja. Guinness. Might be more Guinness for us, that'd be a good thing. Kids cartoon hit with biblical trigger warnings as Jesus gets nailed to the cross. A new animated movie about the life of Jesus has been slapped with a number of warnings, including one about him being nailed to the cross. I mean, it's not real anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Police statement on shocking A1 crash as multiple cops are rushed to hospital. 7 police officers have been taken to hospital after a collision during a pursuit. An investigation is underway to determine the full circumstances surrounding the incident. The A1 was closed for many hours. I've seen bigger pictures than that, and you're like, what the hell went on there? I went to fix faulty alarm in the middle of the night and something chilling happened. Adam Mawson recalled the moment almost a decade ago that his wife had a spooky encounter in the middle of the night on their bed. whilst he was tending to a faulty alarm downstairs. Whoa. I think it was the milkman making an early delivery. Chlamydia, probably. Donald Trump's tariff war hits himself as he faces fake tan price hikes. After announcing a tariff war which rocked the economic world, it has transpired Trump's own famous tan might be under threat as US citizens are set to pay through their nose for tanning oils. We're going to see Trump look more normal. Universal's UK theme park confirmed. Here's when the biggest tourist hub opens. Entertainment giant Universal has announced it secured a site where it can open its first mega UK theme park, with the resort to be built in Bedfordshire and opened in 2031. You're like, what? 2031? That years away. No, it's not. By the time you start building next year, it's only 5 years. So it's a bit of a rush on. You need to get a riddle on. He's been tangoed. Not anymore. He's going to end up looking like his portrait where he's... That's probably what he's upset about. It doesn't look orange in that. That's probably what it is. I mean, I think it's actually a decent picture. Anyway, China are bombarding the USA with memes, video memes, all AI generated, of fat Americans working in sweatshops. So China trolls Trump with viral AI clip mocking obese Americans working in factories. Social media users have been trolling Trump in America with AI-generated video mocking American workers in sweatshop-like factories for being obese and dim-witted. Well, they're definitely one of them. No, you're right. Both of them. You feel sorry for China. China. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. China. Right, that's the end of that news. Now it's breaking news. To see what news has broken. Has any news broken? Oh, right, yeah, my little ticker thing had gone off then. So we've gone up, and now we've gone down again. So, yeah, makes no sense. Zoe Ball reveals body transformation after £120 menopause treatment. What? Who cares? Pioneering BBC series finally releases trailer for stunning reboot 26 years later. Is that going to be Love Thy Neighbour? Where they do. World's first de-extinct animal. Dire wolf howl heard for the first time in 10,000 years. No, it's not the dire wolf. It's not. You're talking nonsense. Oh, I clicked on the wrong thing because I was so angry then. So angry. I'm going to shut that down. Go back on here again. WH Smith to reveal 10 more stores will close. Prince Harry meets war victims in unannounced visit to Ukraine. Alright, okay. He was in court trying to get his stuff going, wasn't he? His safeguards for his, well, the money for his protection when he's over here. Even though he doesn't want to be a royal anymore, he wants the royal protection. How does that work? Masters don't care. Hospitals in England offered unlimited bonuses for taking patients off waiting lists. Well, we've got this money tree now, have we? Oh, what's this? Plan to turn Oldham into one of the most exciting towns of the north. And there's a picture there of Oldham with what looks like apartment blocks. Catholic woman strikes against the glass ceiling in the Catholic Church. Okay. What's this going on? Starmer says people in the north have been underestimated. Yeah, because we all hate you. Absolute arsewipe. NatWest urgent update on £150 payments going out to customers. What? The UK's longest direct train journey has been cancelled. Oh dear. Starmer says Universal Park announcement marks a momentous day. Um, Weezer bassist wife Gillian Lauren underwent cancer treatment weeks before arrest. We've already covered this, but US tariffs on China now 145%, as Trump's policy branded worst self-inflicted wound by any successful economy. A woman fighting for her life after a cafe at Upper Street in Islington. Starmer cuts third of cabinet office staff. That's so he can control more and do what he wants. Trump and Musk mocked a new AI clip depicting them as factory workers. Oh, they work in the factory as well, did they? That's good. Labour urged to end racist block on white police recruits. Terrifying moments. Fire caused by e-bike rips through Bethnal Green flats as residents scream for help. Yvonne Cooper says 5 grooming gang inquiries to go ahead after Tories claim they've been dropped in cover-up. Yeah, I don't trust them doing this. We should be a national one. It should be all grooming gangs as well, because it's not just the Pakistani community that are involved in it. There's lots of communities involved in it, unfortunately. And Greater Manchester town that's about to get a makeover. Oh, that's we've already seen that one. Weather map turned white and purple as 300-mile-an-hour snow bomb hits as far as south as Birmingham. Falling can be risky. Here's how to avoid it and what to do if it happens. I don't think people deliberately fall over. Oceans were not originally blue, apparently. What not drinking enough water actually does to your body? It dehydrates you. You end up possibly going a little bit mad, maybe getting a water infection, etc. What's that? A helicopter gone down in the Hudson? Is that the same? No, it was Australia, wasn't it, where 2 helicopters were? But it was a helicopter and an aeroplane that crashed into the Hudson, wasn't it? Oh no, that was Washington. It wasn't Hudson. It was Washington, that one. Hudson's the one where Sully landed his aeroplane. So, yeah, nothing on that yet. Although very high pollen, yeah, I've been suffering a little bit of the old pollen recently. The death toll from the nightclub roof collapse hits 218. Absolutely horrendous. Okay. Let's have a gander. Helicopter crashes in Hudson River near Manhattan in New York. 11 minutes ago, 27 minutes ago, 17 minutes ago, 18 minutes ago. So the Mirror. Helicopter crash. Whoops. Alright, we can't do that because they want me to pay. You can sod off. I don't even like the Mirror. We'll go for Sky, they don't ask for payment. Helicopters crashed in the Hudson River near Manhattan, the New York Police Department has said. There were 4 people on board. Sky's US report and NBC News reports that only one person is pulled from the water, but the condition is not known. The crash took place in the river near Holland Tunnel, which links Lower Manhattan with Jersey City to its west. And the New York Fire Department said it received reports of a helicopter in the water at 3:17 p.m. local time, which is less than an hour ago, which is 8:17 UK time p.m. It has units on the scene performing rescue operations, so it's less than an hour ago. So yeah, hopefully the people can be rescued from that. But obviously New York is very cold at the moment because it's still winter there and the water will be freezing. Oran McConville death. Britain's Star Talent dies aged 18. I never watched Britain's Got Talent, so I've no idea who he is. Alright, it was in 2017 he was in a choir. Tragedy though, 17 years old, that's no age. Sadly, car crash. Yeah, indeed. Terrible news coming out of New York. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Been on for an hour and 1 minute. I try and keep these to an hour if I can. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. I think a lot of people have realised we're going off air now. So yeah, big shout out to everyone who's contributed to the chat. So Alan Barton, Angela O'Kane, Dream Frequency. I think it was just you guys this week. But yeah, thank you very much for joining in the chat. We covered some serious topics. I also had a bit of a laugh as well. You've got to have some kind of laugh. And then ended on a really serious topic as well, which is not good. Hopefully a good outcome will come from this. But yeah, fingers crossed and all that. Anyway, we've had 25 views, so it's slowly going up. Average is 15 minutes, which is probably you guys, to be fair. Most people stay on for a little while. We've had 5 likes, and we've got 5 concurrent viewers. Don't forget you can listen to this as a podcast, and you can also watch it anytime you want. Live again next week for another News at 10 past 8 live, and we will see you then. See you T as well. Thank you very much. Look after yourselves. I'll be seeing you. Until next time. Yeah. Bye.